what does this mean for you? This is all great research, but what does this mean for you? Well, Kate and I have been talking at length over this, and what we realize is that all of our students and all of your children have a series of habits and routines that contribute to their executive functioning struggles or their executive functioning successes. And what that means is these are things that they do that they don't even think about. And some of them are great, and some of them you want to change. And we want to make these changes so that they can leave your houses and become productive members of society, and you don't have to worry about calling them every day to make sure they got up for class or work or any of those other things that they're going off and doing. So we've identified a few areas where habits and routines are going to be really helpful to free up space for all of those other executive functioning needs. Because if it's a habit or a routine, they don't have to spend their energy thinking about what to do next. They're already doing it. But the thing to keep in mind and the thing to remember is this is not a sprint. You are not going to change a habit tomorrow. Nothing I say here is going to change what your student does tomorrow. It takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes some front-loading work on your part. So, first, I want you to take a minute, and we're going to do a think, pair, share. We're going to do a couple of these. So you're going to take a moment to think, then you're going to turn to the person sitting next to you, and you're going to share about this question. What routines currently work really well in your house? What's something that does go really well every day? My mom would have said, well, my daughter's room is a mess all the time, but she doesn't leave the house without that bed made. That was my rule. If I did nothing else, my bed was made. My brother and I both, every day, that was done. So, think for a moment. What's something that works well? All right, and share with the neighbor. Anybody have a routine that they would like to share that works really well at their house? Yes, Colleen. I got it. You haven't moved. I can remember your name. Don't walk around.
Doing homework as soon as they get home from school before they go out.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else have a routine that works? Yes.
Only having 3 choices for breakfast.
Oh, I like that. Limited choice. That's excellent. Yes.
Dishes in the sink.
Awesome. I heard over here somebody does manage to brush their teeth every morning, so that's
He
a
does.
routine that works. Yes.
We have a puppy, and we've got 3 kids, and one is a morning walker, one's an after-school walker, and one's a nighttime walker.
Perfect. Excellent. So you guys already have routines that work for you. They're there. It's a matter of now tweaking the ones that maybe don't work so well. So, what are some of the areas where routines might be really helpful? What are some of the things that you are struggling with at home as far as getting your kids to participate? So think for a moment. And then maybe you don't need much think time. Go ahead and chat with the neighbor. All right. So is anybody willing to share something that doesn't work well at their house? We're all friends here. Oh, we had
Chores.
chores. All right, not happening. Okay.
Well, after my son did trash, remembering which day is trash, recycle, lawn and garden.
Okay. Yes. Any other routines that? Okay. Yes.
Getting out the door for school.
Getting out the door for school. We're going to talk about that. Anything else?
Getting on time out of something.
Okay. Yes.
Managing personal belongings, like coming in and not just taking your shoes off and leaving them in the middle of the floor and coat dropped. And
We're going to get there too. Yes.
So this is a little different, but weekends, it's not as structured as during the week where you get up, go to school, all do your homework, go to bed.
Okay. Great. Oh, one more. Yes.
You guys are all so advanced. I was going to say flushing the toilet.
Right. Yeah.
Let's get the lid out.
Yes.
Flush and wash. Flush and wash.
All right. So, right, we're at all different levels. The point is, one of the points is that we're not alone. You're not alone. We all have things that we're struggling with, routines that we're struggling with. So we're going to start at the end of your student's school day and the beginning of their day at home with their entry routine. So I want you to think for a moment, what is it that you do, not your student, what do you do when you get home? I open my door, I drop my purse on my entryway hall tree, and everything I have goes on that hall tree. What do you do? Anybody want to share?
I check messages on the phone and on the
Okay. Yes.
We set a timer that we have a 5-minute, you cannot ask snacks, cannot ask that or the other thing, you're not taking care of anything, you're simply walking in the door.
Okay. Very good. I like that. Yes.
I put my keys on the same table right away.
Right. Why do you do that?
So I know where they are.
Exactly. If my phone isn't where I'm supposed to put it, I can't find it. If my purse isn't on that hall tree the next day, I'm like walking around in the morning trying to figure out where it is that I put it. That's my routine. I don't think about whether or not I do it. You don't think about whether or not that's what you're going to do. Your kids might have an entry routine where they come in and they're like, my shoes go here, my backpack goes here, all of that good stuff. So the first thing that you need to do is think about what do you want them to do? What is your goal? Okay? This might be what your entryway looks like right now. I don't know. But you go to your friend's house, you're scoping out ideas, maybe you're trolling Pinterest and you see this and you're like, that would be amazing. I'm never going to get there. I don't have that kind of space. You don't need to have this kind of space. You just need to have a space that belongs to your child for their stuff. And you need to think about what it is that you want. You may only have a chair. And that chair may be in your kitchen, it may be in your hallway, it may be in their bedroom, but that's all you have. So, I have a lovely volunteer here, David, Mr. Roth, as some of you might know. Mr. Roth is my son. And Mr. Roth comes in every day, and he kicks his shoes off, and he throws his stuff. You can come in and kick your shoes off and throw your stuff.
I'm ready.
Here, I'll take this. Okay, so go ahead. Kick your throws off. Kick your shoes. You can just throw stuff around. Awesome. Okay, so today, I'm done. This is ridiculous. I'm done. Okay? I eventually want to get here. I want David to come in and I want him to put his things nicely on this chair. But if I look at him and I say, hey, do this thing, it's probably going to start a fight because he doesn't want to hear it. His amygdala's like, no, I have nothing to do with that right now. So I have to work towards this. So today I'm going to say, you know, David, when you come home from school tomorrow, I want you to put your backpack right here. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can try.
You can try? All right, excellent. So the next day, David goes off to school with all of his stuff. And he comes back in. Yeah, he packs up. That's cool. All right, so he's putting stuff down. Excellent. He put it on his chair. Do you think this is going to happen the first day?
No.
No, it's likely he's going to be like, what do you think is going to happen, David? He's gonna be like, hey, David, you remember today we were going to put our backpack on our chair?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
It was on the Snapchat.
Okay, that's okay. Take you a second.
It's here?
Just right here. Perfect, thank you. And we may do this for a long time. Okay? But what you're trying to do is make this automatic. Eventually, he will stop doing this. He will. But it does take time. So once he gets to this point, once I no longer have to ask him to do this, then I can move on to the next thing. David, today I want you to put your backpack on your chair because you've been doing such a good job. He doesn't have to think about that anymore, so I'm going to give him a new thing to think about. Now I want you to put your jacket on the back of the chair. And then we're going to just focus on having our backpack on the chair and our jacket on the chair. And that may go on for a while. But eventually, after a lot of time, my chair will look like this. Yes, ma'am?
When you say a lot of time,
It's different for every person. So this year, it's a great question. It's different for every person. Developing a habit takes time. We were reading the book Power of Habit this year as a staff. And I read somewhere in there that it can take anywhere from like 30 days to 100. Okay? It's not a fast process, but you have to remember this isn't a sprint. It's a habit, and you're trying to change their habits. Yes, ma'am?
I have a son with autism, and I could actually see that picture working better than any of your language.
Excellent.
Because he would want to fight against my language.
That is a great idea. We're going to cover that too. I love it. Yes. You guys are thinking ahead of me. Yes.
I just had a really quick example I wanted to share that. We lived in Germany 10 years ago. And before that, before we moved to Germany, I was the kind of person who was married to an environmentalist, and I wanted to bring my cloth bags to the grocery store, and I never, ever did it. And in Germany, after a year and a half of being publicly humiliated and having to pay a lot of money for these really flimsy plastic bags, I took a year and a half. And I had all the goodwill and intentions in the world. So it supports your point.
Right. It's not a quick fix. So, our entry routine. This is going to take time. Maybe it won't take months. Maybe it'll take weeks. Whew, yes. But it might take months. So be prepared to not give up and continue taking that very small step. So, we get into the house, right? We're good. We got our setup here. What's the next thing we have to face? Homework. This is your favorite time of night, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is developing a homework routine. Now, I know that your schedules are different every day with dance and basketball and band and all the other things that your students are doing, but it's really important to try to come up with a system that works, a consistent start time. Maybe it's not the same time every day. If you're home every day at 4:45 and you can set that start time, then awesome. But if you're home at a different time every day, maybe it's 15 minutes after we get home every single time we get home. So, we're going to set a start time. For those of you that have younger students, you might be able to set this start time for them. For those of you that don't have younger students, teenagers that, talk back a little bit, teenagers don't do that, right? No? Okay. You may need to include them in this conversation. I notice you're staying up till 11 o'clock every night doing your homework because you don't start until 9 o'clock. That's not a good idea. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not getting to talk to your friends. You're not having fun. We need to adjust this and talk to them about how long it takes them to do their homework. When do they think they should be done? Should it be done before dinner? Or are they the kind of kid that wants to do it after dinner? But have them be a part of whatever decision that you make. And if they are a student that can look at the broad range of times that are available, then by all means let them pick one. But if they are not, giving them limited choices, like 3 items for breakfast, 2 start times. You may start your homework at 4:45 or you may start it at 5. And then see what happens. And it may be that they sit down and they do one homework problem and they're like, I started. And then they go off and do something else. Okay? Not ideal, but they did start. And maybe tomorrow they'll do 2 problems. Okay? So consistent start time. The next is location. Location. I know a lot of several middle school students who tell me they do their homework in their room. Okay? Yeah. We oftentimes think that being in a quiet spot away from distractions is going to help our students get all of their homework done. But the other thing that does is it allows them to sit in their rooms without you around, without you able to even see what they're doing. Not that you need to help them, not that you need to sit right there and make sure they get every problem right, but just you need to be in the general vicinity. Here at school, your students don't go to rooms by themselves and do work. They are used to having other things going on. We want to create a space, we have a space here at school of productive buzz. They are in a space with other people, but there's noise. They're working quietly, but the teacher's talking to this student over here or helping the student. It's rarely completely silent for the work that they're doing. So you want to find a space where you can create productive buzz. In this picture, Dad is making bread and daughter is doing work. Dad is doing something else productive in the same space as his child. It can be checking email, it can be making dinner, it can be pretending to work. Okay? It can be all of those things. But creating a space where work is happening. The kitchen, maybe you have a den space, maybe you have a good table in your living room and you can turn off the TV and everybody can be in the same space. You don't have to sit and watch exactly what they're doing. Please don't, that probably makes them really nervous when I would stand over students. Okay? So, location, location, location. So we have a start time. We have a location. And the next is deciphering homework. Your students probably, if they're McLean students, they come home with something like this. If they're students in another school, they probably have something similar. This is homework for a typical 8th grade student. So you may not be able to read this, so I'll share with you what it says. So this is homework from January 26th. It says, note cards due February 12th. Use 6 words and 3 paragraphs due Friday. Anecdote due Friday. My founding father's Facebook page is due Thursday, and then I've got some regular math homework. I need to study for Latin, and I need to answer this science question. So I don't know about you, but when study hall, when I see this, I've got students tell me, I only have 3 things for homework tonight. Right? They're looking at this and they say, that's not due till February 12th. It's January. I don't even have to deal with that yet. And then my paragraphs aren't due till Friday, this worksheet's not due till Thursday, and then they get to Thursday, and they got a lot to do. So eventually, you're going to want to start talking to your student about what their homework looks like. So here's their planner. It's about talking. So you have a conversation with your 8th grader. How many note cards do you have to do? 60. Should you really wait till February 11th to do that? Oh. No, probably not. What do you think is reasonable to do in one night for homework? They can tell you this. They may not admit it. They can tell you this. But they had 20 days to do 60 note cards, so 3 note cards a day. So over this, or next to it, I write down 3 note cards today. And then on Tuesday, I write 3 note cards, and on Wednesday I write 3 note cards, and on Thursday I write 3 note cards, and on Friday I write 3 note cards. I might go ahead and write it all the way through since that project's due February 12th. But the goal is to get them to start thinking about, what do I have to do every day so that I am not freaking out on February 11th to get all of this done? Use 6 words in 3 paragraphs due Friday. Okay, well, sometimes for your students writing, coming up with what to write about is the hardest part of that. So tonight for homework, I just want them to pick the words they're going to use and choose a topic. And then on Tuesday, they can write paragraph 1, Wednesday, write paragraph 2, Thursday, write paragraph 3. So we're chunking their assignments. We're breaking this up into small steps that's attainable to them. Because if they get to Thursday night and they have 3 paragraphs to write, they're going to look at that and go, I can't do this. It's going to be overwhelming. So we need to help them break it down. Their anecdote is a saying. They need to write a paragraph about a saying. You know this because it's a repeating assignment for them every week. So hopefully by this point they can tell you what they need to do. Maybe not. But they're going to choose their topic tonight. Because again, getting started, deciding what you're going to do is sometimes the hardest part. And then tomorrow they can write their topic sentence because it's only 1 paragraph. They'll finish their paragraph on Wednesday, and then they'll edit and revise it on Thursday, or at least read it again and make sure it makes sense. And then their founding father's Facebook page. You find this in their binder. If it's not in their binder, it's probably on the portal. And you see that it's broken into 3 sections. So tonight you're going to finish the profile section. Tomorrow you're going to finish the like section. Wednesday you're going to finish the friend section, and you're done. And then you have these 3 assignments that are pretty self-explanatory. So this is going to take some time to start doing. It will get quicker, but it's about understanding what it is that they have to do so you don't get stressed out on February 11th or Thursday night every week trying to figure out what's going on with these assignments. All right, so this is what they're doing tonight, and we want to prioritize what we're going to do. So he's going to come and he's going to say, I'm going to do my math first because I really understood math today. I think it'll be easy. I'm going to do that get that out of the way. Your next question is, how long do you think that's going to take you? And they might say, 15 minutes. And you say, great. set a timer, your kitchen timer, your phone timer. 15 minutes later, that's going to go off. You can come back and check in. How you doing? This brings an awareness to them of how long it's taking them to do homework and gives you a good sense of what they can get done in 15 minutes. What were they doing during that 15 minutes? And you can get back and check in on them without having to, hover. You've got your checkpoint times. And if they're done, great, they can move on to the next assignment. If they're not done, you can have them take a 2-minute joy break without a phone or without a device, and it's maybe petting the dog, maybe taking a lap around the house, maybe it's stretching, doing a yoga pose, it depends on your kid. But you have them take a break and then think about it again. I have 2 problems left. How long is that going to take me? 5 minutes. All right, we'll set the timer for 5 minutes. So again, this doesn't have to happen tomorrow. This is going to be a hard transition. But you go through and you prioritize each thing. And then your student gets done with their math homework. Maybe it's their math homework, and they bring it to you, and you see that 2/3 of their math homework is wrong. What do you do? What's going to happen? Yeah, you can let them bring it to school and have their teachers handle it. Okay, what if your inner amygdala is like, oh no, that's wrong, I can't let them take that to school? What happens if you try to comment on it?
They get upset.
They fight you. You get World War III on a Tuesday night.
Already, I'm moving on.
Right.
It's done.
So the homework routine can be a struggle sometimes, and when you're attempting to help them with their homework, that can also be a struggle. One of the things that you can do is, instead of commenting on what they got wrong, start with what they got right. I noticed that you got number 4 right, and I see that you did this step, and this step. Go down to a wrong problem. Why didn't you do that here? You haven't placed a value judgment on it. You haven't said the word wrong. And so their inner amygdala is not sure what's up. They don't know. They don't know that you're trying to tell them their homework's wrong, but you're having them assess what they're doing. If it's a history problem or a history question that you think isn't answered with enough depth, you can say, where in the book did you find that? I think it's fascinating. Will you share more information with that about that with me? So again, you're not placing a value judgment on it. You're asking them to do a little more research, share something with you, answer the question. Yes?
Just to go back a second, I just want to clarify, when you're setting priorities and assigning estimates of how long you think each thing is going to take, do you do that all at once, or do you do that?
Depends on your kid. You can. I would start with just one, and then eventually move to all at once. But I would start with, what are you going to do first? What's your, how long do you think this is going to take you, and then go back to the next one.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you envision this being a constant, or is this a learning process that then they'll be able to do this independently at some point?
The goal is that they will be able to do it independently at some point. So this is what we're working on first, and this is how we can get there. But the goal is that when they get into the upper levels of high school and into college, they can do this on their own. They can think independently about long-term projects, unless you want phone calls in college about how to write their long-term paper. But if the goal is that eventually they'll be able to do this on their own. So let me continue with this. There are a lot of questions. I know that we will have some time at the end to talk about it. So developing a homework team. The other thing is, yes, you can send your student to school with incorrect homework. Their topic sentence can be less than stellar. Their homework can be partially wrong. This gives teachers a lot of information about how we can help them. If we're looking at their homework and we see they're making the same careless error every single time, we can address that. Maybe all of our students are doing that. So sending in wrong homework isn't the end of the world. It's a small failure. It's homework. It's practice. It's information for us. So if you don't want to fight World War III, done. It's okay. All right, so thinking about what we've just talked about, I just threw a lot of things at you. We've got 3 more to go, so I want to take a break here. And I want you to think about something that might work for you in your house. Something that sounds like, yeah, I could definitely do that. So think for a moment, and then when you're ready, share with a neighbor. Okay, so we are getting close to running out of time, so I'm going to keep going. So developing an evening routine. this is the idea that you want to get all of your students' stuff back to that chair before they go to bed. So anything they took off of the chair or the basket or the cubby that you have, you want it all to go back there. That includes their backpack, their lunch box, if you can pack your lunches the night before. If not, make sure you have a special place for them in the morning. Your bags for extracurricular activities, the shoes that they kick off in the middle of the floor, the jackets, anything they need to take with them the next day, you want to make sure it gets back to their launch pad, to their space, to their special zone. This may be something that you are doing for a while, but eventually they can do it. And you start with, just like you start with the entry routine, put your backpack on the chair. With your evening routine, you put your backpack on the chair and you build up from there. Another really great time saver is laying your clothes out the night before, including the really cool socks that you know you want to wear tomorrow, and the scrunchie. I don't know if girls still wear scrunchies, but whatever it is that they want to wear to school tomorrow, having them set it out the night before keeps the search for the really cool socks at nighttime and takes time away from their evening activities rather than your morning trying to get out the door. And it also allows them to make an adjustment if they need to make an adjustment the night before. If those socks are dirty and they forgot, that's going to be really hard at 6:30 in the morning when you're trying to leave. It's not going to be as hard if they can make that adjustment the night before. And then do come up with a routine for your lunches. If you can pack lunches the night before and place them on the launch pad, great. If you can pack lunches the night before but they can't not be in the refrigerator for the whole evening, then have a place set up in your kitchen where they are so that you remember to place them and eventually your student remembers to place them on the launch pad. You want to do all of this so that your exit routine is literally a grab and go. They don't have to worry about what they're going to wear because they picked it out the night before, and you don't have to worry if they have all of your stuff and you're going to have to make a special trip to school in the middle of the day because they forgot something. It's literally a grab and go. Minus the other dramas about breakfast and she picked me and all of those things. But you don't have to worry about what they're wearing or what their stuff is, where their stuff is. So that's your exit routine. Now, yes?
Sorry, just a quick question on all of this stuff. We've tried various methods, from charts to stickers to all this stuff. And my question is, there's always for us a reward because we feel like that's an incentive. And we're wondering is that still necessary or should, because I prefer not to have a reward. Will this lead to just a routine as opposed to a reward?
Hopefully, yeah. The goal is that you pursue this for a while and then it will eventually turn into a habit. You can give rewards and we'll talk about it at the end, but the other thing you can do is give things silly names. If you have a young enough child, or if you have a teenager, you can come up with something and then let them roll their eyes at you and come up with something better, or stick with what you have. But coming up with things like, this is your rocket launch pad for your chair, or we're going to set up the special fantastic homework time, or whatever the fun name you want to come up with. There's ways to put fun into this without necessarily making it a reward system. Okay, so the last thing, photo finish. This goes to what you say. A photo that you take is going to last so much longer than the list of things you ask your child to remember to do. So if you tell them you want them to clean their room, and then you say that means hang your clothes up, pick your toys up off the floor, make your bed, do all of these things. They heard one, maybe two of those things. They didn't hear all of them. And when they come downstairs, you're like, I cleaned my room. And you go upstairs and you look and you're like, no, you didn't. There's a list of 4 things that you didn't do. So take a picture of what that looks like. You can use this for, what does your bag look like? What is a packed track bag? I've got my clothes, my headphones, my water, my shoes. What does my chair look like? Well, or my cubby. I've got my backpack and my basket and with specific items in there. My bookshelf, my books go here, my stuffed animals go here, my truck goes here, my train can be on the floor, like that. What does my made bed look like? And then the conversation becomes, match that picture. And I made my bed walk upstairs and it's not made. Does it match your picture? No. Okay, make it match your picture. It takes the nagging, the you need to do, you need to do, you need to do, and just, does it match? Yes or no? And if it doesn't, okay, make it match. You can also do this for backpack and what needs to be in it. Loading the dishwasher, your chores, what are your expectations? I expect bowls and plates on the bottom and cups on the top. What does a set table look like? What is that? When you ask your, I don't know if people ask their children to set the tables. That was one of my chores. What does it look like? So take a photo. Talk less, model more, and take a photo of it. All right, so back to the 5 things that we talked about earlier. You're going to want to set goal. Where do you want to start? I would suggest not all of them today. Okay? Where do you want to start? What's the most important thing to you and your family and your household? It's not going to work the first time. What are you going to do? You're going to fail? Yeah, that's okay. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to change it? Oh, well, we didn't remember today. Good thing we have a fresh start tomorrow. Start very, very small. So if you want that homework routine, start with just trying to get a time. Or start with changing where they do their homework. And make it fun. So you can give it names, make it fun, give it a game. The other thing you can do is you can do a sticker system. You get a sticker for doing this, a sticker for doing that every day. And when you get 5 days in a row, you get to do something like choose the radio station in the car tomorrow. Or you get to have your favorite meal for dinner. Don't make it something huge. They don't get iPads for putting their backpacks on a chair. That's not going to happen. But they can get something small. Maybe they get to pick which restaurant you go to this week. Or maybe you listen to music while you make dinner and they get to pick the song. But it's small. And it adds to quality time with you as a family, rather than something that they don't have to be involved with you on. And then the last one, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can say so much more with the photograph than you can with your mouth. All right, so on your papers, you have a flight plan. You might see that on the front. So pick one thing you're going to try. One thing. Tomorrow's your fresh start. It's April 8th. Let's go. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Set your goal. What small piece are you going to start with? What are you going to do if it doesn't work? Where your fresh start's going to happen? Are you going to make this an everyday thing? Woohoo! We get to start over today. Maybe it's every 2 days. Maybe it's every Monday. What do you think will work? And how will you make it fun? And the last question that you need to think about is, what do you need to do to make this happen? Do you need to get a chair for them? Do you need to put a hook in the wall? What is it that you need to do to make this happen?